Morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Josh Trittmatter, and I'd like to welcome you to Trittmatter Wealth's Smart Money webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. Our presentation is titled Understanding Your Medicare Choices. For those of you that don't know us, we are Trittmatter Wealth Management Group, and we are located in downtown Fort Worth. We specialize in investment management, financial planning, estate planning, and real estate investing. We've been in business since 2007 and serve clients throughout the United States. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. All of you have access to the chat feature. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to type those in and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Also, we'll be sending out a replay for today's webinar via email. So if you missed something, don't panic. You'll have the ability to watch this again, and you are welcome to forward this presentation and any presentations of ours to your friends and family. Today's webinar is meant to be purely educational and not meant as tax or legal advice. Please talk to your licensed professional before taking action on any of the information on this presentation. For more information, including key disclosures, please visit us at our website at strittmatterwealth.com. Let me introduce your speaker today. So Melanie Havis is an insurance broker who specializes in Medicare. She takes pride in helping consumers choose the plan that best suits their needs, but also advocates for them when difficult situations arise. She's been in the industry for over 20 years. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Melanie. Melanie, are you there? Let me see, folks. Melanie, can you hear us?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Awesome. Okay, let me turn off the video off my computer. One moment. Am I coming in on the computer also?
You are. You just need to share your screen.
Okay, perfect. I was set up as a participant, and so here we go. All right, how does that look?
That looks fantastic.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everybody. As Josh said, my name is Melanie Havis, and I'm an insurance broker. I've been specializing in Medicare as well as the Affordable Act plans for under 65 for well over 20 years. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys today. I appreciate the opportunity. My cell phone number is 817-726-2307. And my email address is melaniehavis@yahoo.com. And so if your questions don't get answered here today, or if you need help shopping for next year, please feel free to call, text, email. I'm more than happy to help you guys out. So today's topic, what I chose is what's the difference between Medicare supplements as well as Medicare Advantage plans. And the reason I chose this topic is because the biggest number of call volume that I get every year during this time is, what's all this free stuff I see on TV and is it right for me? Why am I paying so much for this insurance whenever Joe Namath says I can get everything for free? Well, I hate to tell you guys this, but if Joe Namath wasn't enough to deal with, guess what? Lionel Richie's joining in on those commercials for next year. So just be prepared. It is that season. You're going to be seeing all those commercials. And so that's why I chose that topic, because those commercials run and that's what's generating those calls, the free. But just remember, free is not always good, but it is a good fit for some people. But I don't want you to be fooled. I want you to understand the differences. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, the differences between the Medicare Advantage as well as the Medicare Supplement. And then at the end of the presentation, there's a couple of legislative changes that I'm going to go over to you really quickly. Before we get started though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick refresher over what Medicare Part A and Part B is. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want you to understand exactly why you need to fill in what Medicare doesn't cover. Okay, Some of you may have been on Medicare for quite some time and can't exactly remember why you need that Medicare supplement or why you need that advantage. So it's always good to get a high-level overview of how original traditional Medicare works. But before we move forward, I want you to take a quick look at my screen and that card that's displayed on there. Believe it or not, I'm still seeing a lot of the old red, white, and blue cards that have your Social Security number on it. So Medicare did away with those quite some time ago because of identity theft. So as homework, I want you to look at your card and make sure that your card looks like this. It's going to have the alpha as well as the numeric combinations. If it doesn't, you can order one. It's really fast. I hate to say it, it's done through Social Security, but don't be scared. You're not going to be on hold for 2 hours. You can actually use the automated service. So it literally takes less than 5 minutes. That phone number, if you do need to order one, is 1-800-772-1213. So 2 parts to Medicare, and I don't want you to be scared of these numbers that I'm going over. Again, just remember I'm giving you a high-level overview of how traditional Medicare works, so that way you understand why you need to fill it in. So the 2 parts to Medicare are Part A and Part B. So Medicare Part A, that covers inpatient hospitalization, skilled nursing, nursing home care, hospice, as well as home health care. Most people receive Part A premium free. The reason being you work for it. You paid into the system for at least 10 years or 40 quarters. And so most people don't pay a premium. However, if you didn't work at least the 10 years or the 40 quarters, you can actually purchase that. So the way that the Part A works, if you're admitted to the hospital, you're going to have a deductible, okay? That deductible is $1,556. Now, these numbers are 2022. 2023 numbers aren't out yet, so this is how it works this year. So the deductible for 2022 is $1,556. But guess what? That deductible is per occurrence. It's not a yearly deductible, it's per occurrence. And so what I mean by that, if you're admitted 1 time in a year or 5 times in a year, each time you're admitted, you're going to have to pay that $1,556 if you only have traditional Medicare. Now, there is an exception to that, and what that exception is if you're readmitted for the exact same diagnosis that you originally went in for, then you wouldn't have to pay it again. The second part to Medicare is Part B. For 2022, that premium is $170.10. If your income level is considered below federal poverty level, the state may actually pay that for you. But if you're what's considered a higher income earner, you may actually be paying more for your Part B. And I do have those thresholds on there. And so if your income is over $91,000 per individual, or over $182,000 per couple, then you could actually have to pay more for your Part B as well as your Part D, as in drugs. So the way that the Part B works, your Part B is basically going to cover anything outside of the hospital: doctors, labs, x-rays, chemo. That's a big Part B charge, even ER. Imagine going to the ER and having 5 different tests and seeing a couple of different doctors. That expense can rack up pretty fast also. The way that the Part B works, as you access care, if you only have traditional Medicare, you're going to have a deductible. Remember with Part A, the deductible's per occurrence. Well, Part B works different. Part B is yearly. So that deductible is $233. But once you meet that deductible, you have to pay 20% of everything. And that 20% never caps off. So imagine someone with that big C diagnosis having to go through chemotherapy. That can run into a lot of money. And so this is why people go on plans to fill in what Medicare doesn't cover, which brings us to the Medicare Advantage as well as the Medicare supplement. Those are your two choices to fill it in, unless of course you're offered group retirees and you do have that choice as well. So let's look at the Medigap policy first. This is also known as a Medicare supplement. You may even call it a Plan F or a Plan G. It's all the same thing, okay? The way that the supplement works, what it does is it pays secondary to Medicare. So Medicare pays primary, and then your supplement pays a secondary. If you're on a Plan G, the way that that works, once you meet your Part B deductible of $233, as long as Medicare pays, you're covered at 100% for the rest of the year. So it's a really nice policy. If you're hospitalized, it pays that hospital deductible. So it's a really good policy. And I don't know if this speaks volumes about a supplement, but this is actually what I have my mom and dad on, a Medicare supplement. The beauty of a supplement also is there's no referrals required. You can see any doctor in the United States because there's no networks. You are going to have 3 different premiums now. If you choose a supplement, you're going to pay your Part B premium, your Medicare supplement premium, and then guess what? It doesn't cover prescription drugs, so you're going to have a drug premium as well. So those are the 3 different premiums. And then also on a Medicare supplement, those rates will continue to rise year after year. And so a common misconception is that you can only change Medicare supplements during annual enrollment. That's not true. Let's say it's July 1st and you've just taken a rate increase. You can actually shop your Medicare supplement at any time during the year if you've taken an increase. But keep in mind, if you want to shop different carriers, you do have to answer health questions and you can be declined based on those. And so if that's something you're interested in, definitely reach out to your current broker or myself, and I can definitely help you out with that, because the underwriting questions are right there on the application, and so it's a very simple process. So if you do the supplement, remember I said it doesn't cover prescription drugs, so you're going to have to add a drug plan. The reason being, if you don't, guess what? You're penalized. You have to have a Part D, and if you don't have creditable Part D coverage, you're going to have a penalty. The penalty is not that much. It's 1% of the base beneficiary premium. So right now it's about 33 cents a month for every month you should have had coverage and you didn't. So it's not that much, but the problem is it's a lifetime penalty and it never goes away. So make sure that you do have creditable drug coverage. A couple of different ways you can get that. If you do the supplement, then you can just purchase a separate standalone drug plan. But if you do choose to go the Medicare Advantage plan, many of those plans do have that in there. Also group employer, and then of course there's the VA. You can get your drug coverage through there. So the second option to fill in what Medicare doesn't cover is the Medicare Advantage plans. Now these plans are health plan options that are approved by Medicare. And keep in mind that if you do decide to go on an Advantage plan, even though these types of plans are sometimes called the Medicare replacement plan, you still have the same rights and protections as you would have had if you were on original Medicare. So basically, that's just a fancy way of saying if Medicare covers it, your Advantage plan has to cover it as well. So you're definitely protected with those same rights as protections. And so you may, like I said, have heard of it called as a Medicare replacement. Also Part C, that's another name for a Medicare Advantage plan. These plans are the ones that are advertised on TV as free, everything's free. Well, that's not necessarily true. Some of these plans do have a 0 monthly premium, but some of the PPOs do have a low monthly premium. And the reason being is what's happening in the background, instead of Medicare paying, your insurance company is paying. And so Medicare sends money every single month to the Advantage plan to pay your claims and administer your plan. So it's not free like what you see on TV. That's what's going on in the background. Couple of different plans that you may see out there, HMOs as well as PPOs. The HMOs won't have out-of-network benefits. You do have to have a referral. And then the PPO, there's no referral required. It does allow you to go in and out of network. And if you join the Advantage plan, you know, even though it's called the Medicare replacement, you still are on the Medicare program. In fact, you do have to be eligible for Medicare in order to join this program. What's great about some of the Advantage plans is they do have the value adds like vision, dental, or hearing. Some of them do have the Part D included in it. You still have to pay your Part D premium. And then these are the plans that have the networks. But I have to tell you, like if you live in DFW or a big major metropolitan area, the plans have done a pretty good job about growing their networks. And so, you know, usually they know that seniors don't want to change doctors. We get set in our ways as we age. And so they do a good job about trying to bring Dr. Bob in onto the network. But if you're in a rural area, then definitely the supplement is for sure the way to go. And then don't forget that you do have to have those referrals if you're on an HMO. So let's look at the pros and the cons. What's right for you? How do you weigh it out? You know, we talked about the differences between the supplement as well as the Advantage plan, but let's just kind of look at some of the pros and the cons. So the pros of the Medicare supplement, well, it's just one of the richest medical coverages that you can get whenever you're on traditional Medicare, because Medicare pays, the supplement pays, and like I said, if you're on a plan G, once you meet that Part B deductible, you're covered at 100%. My mom, she's actually on a plan F. She's been on Medicare for a while, and she's had cancer 3 different times. And I just can't tell you what a blessing it's been to not have to deal with medical bills and cancer. And so that's why I'm a big pro med sup, but it's not a fit for everyone, and that's okay. You have the Medicare Advantage that's available also. Medicare is definitely not a one-size-fits-all, and so that's why I wanted to show you the differences, so that way you can make an educated decision on what's right for you. The pros of the SUP is you can see any doctor in the United States. Your network is going to be Medicare, and so if you're calling to find new doctors, they say, what insurance do you have? You're going to say, I have traditional Medicare with a supplement. It doesn't matter what supplement you have. You can have Mutual of Omaha, Humana, Aetna, USAA, it doesn't matter. Your network is the Medicare. No referrals, and then there's definitely less prior authorizations, you know, like for the testing, CAT scans, MRIs, and such things like that. So it just makes it easier to use and access your care whenever you're trying to go out there and use your insurance. The cons of the Medicare supplement, the downside is those 3 different premiums. You're going to have your Part B premium, your Medicare supplement, and then you're going to have your drug premium. These types of plans do not cover dental, and they don't cover routine vision either. So if it's cataracts, definitely it's covered, but if you're trying to go the Pearl Vision and get your glasses for the year, it's not going to be covered. So if that's something that you're needing, that's going to be a 4th premium. Unfortunately, as you age, your premiums are going to continue to rise year after year. And I can tell you it gets pretty expensive as you get older. For instance, I just replaced a gentleman, bless his heart, who was 92 years old. He was paying $450 a month for his supplement. And so at that time, it just made sense to move him over to an Advantage plan. He also had the VA. And the reason it made sense is because of the maximum out of pocket on the Advantage plans, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But that's just an example of how expensive these plans can get as you age. But don't forget that if you're still pretty healthy, not on a lot of medicines, you can definitely change carriers and go through underwriting and get a lower premium. It doesn't matter which carrier you go with. The plans are exactly the same. And so if you're on a plan G, any carrier that's out there that offers the Plan G, these plans are standardized, and so the only thing that's going to be different is the rate as well as the carrier name. Another downside is there's no vision or dental. We talked about that already, and then you have to add that Part D coverage. So the pros of the Medicare Advantage plan, well, it's the zero to the low monthly premiums. And so instead of paying your monthly premium for your supplement, the Advantage plan is a pay-as-you-go, if you will. And so basically what I mean by that, as you access care, is you're going to have co-pays. And so instead of paying your 3 premiums, your Medicare supplement, your Part B, and your Part D, these are all in one. And as you access care, you're going to have set co-pays. Now, you still have to pay the Part B premium, and then these plans are going to have the value adds, the dental, the vision, the over-the-counter. They even have no-cost gym memberships included in it as well. And then most of them do have the Part D attached with no additional premium. The copays are predictable because it's right there in black and white. You know exactly what you're going to pay before you go to the doctor. And what's great about these plans is they have what's called a maximum out-of-pocket or a stop loss. And so let's just take Humana Gold Plus HMO plan for Tarrant County. We'll pick on them. Their 2022 yearly out-of-pocket is $3,900 for this year. And so basically, when I say this year, I mean 2022. And so basically what that means is if you get really sick in a year and your medical expenses total $3,900, then you're covered at 100% for the rest of the year on your medical. So they do have protections in there built in. Some of the disadvantages of the Medicare Advantage is the networks. You know, if MD Anderson is important to you, forget about it. You're not going to do that on these types of plans. But if you're not wanting to travel, you know, well, I say travel, but actually emergency coverage worldwide is definitely covered as if you were in network. So don't worry about that, but more so like the MD Andersons or Dr. Bob that's in New York City, you just can't do that on the Advantage plans. You have to stay in network. Copays. So I don't know if you noticed, but I listed copay as a pro and a con. The reason I listed copay as a con is because hospitalization, some of those can actually be pretty high. I've seen them like $325 a day for days 1 through 7. So that can get a little bit of expensive of a cost for you. And then there's that co-insurance. Chemo and dialysis, most things do have a copay on the Advantage plans, but some do still have a co-insurance. And so chemo, dialysis, also durable medical equipment, that's going to have a co-insurance, and you would pay 20% for that on most plans. But keep in mind, you have that maxed out of pocket. So if the big C does happen, then you are protected. And then there's the dreaded referrals on the HMOs as well as the prior authorizations. So some takeaways, your homework, because we're getting to be in open enrollment. What you're going to want to do is, if you're offered employer retiree coverage, definitely compare it again for next year. You know, sometimes once you opt out of your group employer retiree, you can never go back on, but I have seen it where they let you come in and out as you want. And so if their plan wasn't very rich this year, definitely check it out next year and compare it. I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity. And if your rate has increased on the Medicare supplement, definitely shop your rates for a lower rate on the supplement. And then if you are on an Advantage plan, make sure you check your network every year, because just because Dr. Bob takes your plan this year, it doesn't mean that he's going to take it next year. So definitely check that as well. And then I can't say this loud enough, don't forget to shop your drug coverage, especially if you're on expensive medications. The formularies can be as different as night and day, year after year, and so you definitely want to shop that. And again, if this is something that you guys need help with, I'm more than happy to help you guys out. If you're working with a broker, definitely give them a call. They'll be willing to help you do that as well. The open enrollment begins October the 15th. If you're on an Advantage plan or a Part D, this is when you can begin changing your plan. It ends December the 7th, and your coverage will begin on January the 1st. And then don't forget the supplement, you can change plans all year. If you like your Advantage plan and you want to keep it, you don't have to do anything. It'll actually just roll right over, so nothing you have to do. But say you let it roll over and then you found a plan that you think may be better for you. Well, beginning January the 1st and ending March 31st, you can actually make one more change. And so the legislative changes that have come to pass, I don't know if you guys have gotten a shingle shot, but man, that can really be expensive when you're on Medicare. So starting January 2023, all recommended adult vaccinations will be without cost to you going forward. So that is great news. If you haven't had your shingle shot and you can wait, definitely take advantage of that. Again, it starts January 1, 2023. All adult vaccines covered at 100%. And then the second big thing that's going to happen in 2025 is that Part D spending on the drugs will now be capped at $2,000. So that's huge, especially those that are having to deal with inhalers or loss of insulin. That's really good news. So that actually completes our presentation. Again, my name is Melanie Havis, and my phone number is 817-726-2307, and my email is melaniehavis@yahoo.com. And so at this time, we'll go ahead and open up for questions.
Thank you, Melanie. Great job.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and as we wait for people to type in their questions here, I'm going to talk a little bit about strip matter wealth, and then we'll stop recording, and then we'll actually take those questions offline, off recording. So if you have questions, certainly give Melanie a call. She's a great resource for you. If you'd like to visit with my team, you can reach us at that phone number on the screen, and then go to our website, stripmatterwealth.com. There you can sign up for our weekly emails, newsletters, things like that. And then also join me every Saturday at 10 a.m. on 1190 a.m. on a show called Ask the Experts, where I answer your financial questions. All right, thanks everybody. I'm going to stop the recording.